Pag Show, great radio stations across the land. Newsmax TV, joepags.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email, all of that and more. Make sure you check it out on Gab too, gab.ai/joepags. It's a pleasure to have back to the program former congressman from the great state of Michigan. It's Republican Pete Hoekstra. Pete, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing just fine. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure. I wanted you on because you're former House Intelligence Committee chair, and there's so much fake news out there right now, Pete, about this alleged Russian hacking.
I want the job back. I want to be in the hearing on Friday when the CIA and the DNI come and testify on this. I think they are in big trouble.
Well, they are because they've been caught. They've been called out, and we've called their bluff. Let's go back to the Washington Post story that alleges that individuals, I guess, potentially with a connection to the Russian government, allegedly hacked the DNC and the RNC. Now, what we already know from that story is that nobody is named. They're saying individuals that might have some connection. The connection we don't know. And at the end of it all, we should really just take the word of Julian Assange. And here's why I say that. Not one person from the DNC, not John Podesta, not Donna Brazile, not anybody, all these journalists that were named from CNN and Politico and others that were all cheating and in cahoots with Hillary Clinton, nobody has refuted anything in those emails. I mean, that's right, Pete?
That is correct.
Okay, so now we have that knowledge. So now let's take it to the next step. Julian Assange has not lied about the contents of the emails. Nobody has refuted what he said. And when you ask Julian Assange who gave him the leaked emails, he says it was somebody who was a Democrat operative that leaked it. He has said straight out in common English, it wasn't the Russians. Why are we saying it's the Russians? Where did this come from?
Well, it's like you said. The interesting thing, and I think you also then have seen the latest report late this afternoon, where it says a former British ambassador said that he went to Washington and was personally handed this digital information, that he got it from a Democrat operative. So it's not now only Julian Assange saying this, but it's also the guy that went to the mail drop and actually picked up the information who's saying that. But it could have been multiple sources. The Russians could have gone into the Democratic, and done a cyber attack. But at the same time, a disgruntled employee may have given it to someone to give to Julian Assange. The CIA and the CIA now on Friday is going to have strong proof that, number one, it was the Russian government that hacked it. They're going to have strong proof that the Russian government transferred this information to Julian Assange with the express purpose of defeating Donald Trump. And I'll tell you, that's a pretty high standard for them to meet. And on Friday, you know what? They're going to come up short because they don't have it. Like you said, in the Washington Post, it was alleged, and they believe that if we can get 3 alleged in a row, that makes our case.
It's Pete Hoekstra, former House Intelligence Committee chair, Republican from the great state of Michigan. Pete, to that end, let's go with the assumption, and I think you and I are right about this, that Friday you're not going to see the CIA come up with any of that hard information that they need to prove what was printed in the Washington Post. In fact, they'll probably say, well, if you read the Post, we didn't really say that the Russian government did it. I mean, the Post got it wrong, not us. Let me ask you this. Why would the CIA do this to help this disinformation, to stop us from realizing that this was an insider at the DNC, had nothing about helping Trump. It was everything about exposing how dirty and how nasty the DNC was. Why would somebody working at the CIA or the highest levels of the CIA be on board with that?
Because at certain times they are a rat's nest, and they are pissed at Donald Trump because he has taken shots at them, and it's kind of like, you don't really want to get the CIA mad because they do have ways of, of taking people down. But they're totally frustrating. Donald Trump has said that they've made mistakes, and sometimes he doesn't trust them, and maybe they're overrated and these kinds of things. So it is not the agency that is doing this. It is rogue employees within the CIA who are leaking this information. I just got someone just confirmed that to me today, that, hey, this is not people who were in the briefings leaking the information.
Yeah.
This is people, isolated people within the CIA who've got an axe to grind with Trump or maybe with Republicans in general, and they are leaking this information. They're leaking it selectively, and they're leaking it to a media that wants to embrace it and wants to run with it. And so it's not going, the media is not running it through the normal hoops that you would want them to go through to verify that the source and the accusations are even accurate.